Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 5th of September. So looking at the euro dollar first, and well, what have we got then? Well, yesterday it came down and just pierced the monthly pivot there. Had a little bounce off that, but it doesn't look at the moment like it wants to go much further. It's run up to its 4-hourly 21 and stalled around about that level at the moment. We do have the weekly pivot, which there is potential for it to get back to, but it's at the moment it's shaping up bearish. Lower highs, lower lows still coming through this market. It's important where it sits here. It's just through the daily pivot. It'll be important just to watch the first thing this morning, see what happens. I sort of do like the continuation down towards yesterday's lows, that S1 at the moment, in terms of in line with trend. So that's what I'm looking. But post 8 o'clock, let's see what happens. If it starts breaking and looking a bit more positive, well then this may have been, I'm just trying to work whether this is a sort of more significant bottom in things, or whether it is just a continuation move that we're in. So if this sort of leaves us in a more bullish move, I have to wait probably quite a while before I can really go on the long side, but I would then be looking toward trading towards the R1, the 100 moving average, and then ultimately that weekly pivot. So that I am looking at that as a possible still, but as I say, it depends on how things shape up around about 8 o'clock. Okay, so it's euro dollar. Let's have a look elsewhere then. The pound. So the pound, well, similar sort of picture to a degree, although it's right the way through its pivot. It put a hammer in yesterday. It's not quite back to the original trend line that was sitting down there. Look at the 4-hourly picture here, and again, is it trying to put in a higher low here and start reversing things a little bit, or are we going to see a proper rollover? Now, one thing that puts me off of a bounce in some respects is just the absolute extremes that we're seeing on some accounts there, of some retail traders. I mean, it's around about 76% of them are short at the moment, and I do wonder when you get it like that, where we'll see a bit of a squeeze until that figure drops out a little bit. But we'll see. But there's potential still in what's going here, with lower highs, lower lows in the bigger picture, for it to roll and continue down towards that S1. And yesterday's lows at the moment, but again, for me to change view on this, it'd have to be above that 60-minute 50. It could be trying to put some sort of low in. That's already been through. I think it's ticks most of the boxes actually, apart from there's still a gap, and there is the weekly pivot up above. Could get back towards that, we'll see. But it does look slightly softer. We've got news out at 9:30, the GDP, the services PMI even, so that's at 9:30. Okay, let's move on. Dollar yen. Dollar yen, so pitched up yesterday, solid up day yesterday, lost some ground there and didn't gain it back. It's pitched up a bit this morning, early hours. 4-hourly, that shooting star into the weekly R1. We'll see how that holds up. I'm certainly not keen to get too short on this at the moment. Again, it still looks like the longs may have it. We do have the weekly pivot, however, below, and if you was looking to get into the market, that in itself, with the 50 coming up behind, may be a point of support. Now I'm looking, actually coming back, there may be a divergence across the highs on RSI here. Let's just have a look at my more aggressive RSI. There's minor divergence there. The reason I was looking, I can see just a hint of divergence between these two highs here. So maybe we see a bit. I mean, it's already had a bit of a correction from its daily R1 there, so that may wear itself off by the time it gets back to the pivot, if it gets back there anyway. Okay, so dollar yen, Aussie dollar. some good news through the Asian session here, but not really reflected by looks of things in the data. I'm just looking at it, well, it may have been. Obviously spiked up at some point, but yesterday pretty much a bearish engulfing candle yesterday. Very weak looking candle. Looks like the news did generate some upside there back to that 21, avoiding its a bit like the euro and everything else at the moment, avoiding the weekly pivots. And we're sitting in here, and it's quite a choppy. I said yesterday with this, it's okay, at 8 o'clock it did continue coming down for a while. It's a bit, but look at what happened in the afternoon. Not often we see this in the morning. It's, as I said, I prefer it more as a swing type trading currency than a day trading currency. Sometimes it works out okay though. But we're getting the same sort of early morning action. Are we just going to see it consolidate as we go through? Not much else to do there. It does look like it could still sell off further as well at the moment. Even that good news on the GDP, they're coming in at 0.9 versus 0.7, hasn't kept it pushing through. Part of this may be sitting there on the tension that sits between the US and China, which is obviously Australia's biggest trading partner, regarding tariffs, etc., which may have knock-on effects. Okay, Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar. So what we got here then, Canadian dollar pitched out yesterday, softened up against and broke the trend line. I was keeping people out from trying to short it yesterday. Maybe it will have a bit more of a retrace, but it really has edged up there and well consolidating at the moment. It's got a potential for pushing back up towards that extreme before. It may just push up towards that, have a double top here. That's what it almost looks like at the moment, although it's gone through the bodies. Thereafter, daily untouched pivot below, but well, yesterday it did again. It was one of those that moved pretty well in the morning and then did late in the later session. We'll see how this runs, but it could be pretty much the same. We do have some data out for CAD. We've got the trade balance, labour productivity, and the rate statement at 3, and more importantly at 3 p.m. So that should a statement coming from there. Not expecting any changes, but may just keep it as one to stay out of today. Right, that's it for me. There's no other news. Have a great day. Bye for now.